Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk. My name is Tahir. I'm a fellow of Real Estate of Canada and broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. As you know, today is the last day of REBA, the act that deals with real estate. It is being replaced by Trust in Real Estate Services Act, TRESA. And there are lots of changing happening, and it's very, very important for you to watch the real estate episode that I have discussed about understanding the real estate new law, which is a TRESA. The Real Estate Council of Ontario, that's the regulator, has already provided lots of videos and consumer information. The most important thing right now for consumer is to have access to RECO info guide, which every realtor, every registrar, real estate agent or broker is supposed to deliver to you, and you are able to read it and go through it, because it will define the role and responsibility of a realtor, the option and type of services available from them. It's very, very important for you to know that. Secondly, when you have to enter into a brokerage agreement, you have to understand and read the content. If you are listing, you have to check to make sure the brokerage is listed, is licensed by RECO. You can go to reco.on.ca. If you talk about a realtor coming to you for listing, make sure they have a certificate is required under TRESA and REBA, that they have to have in their possession. So the RECO has an electronic certificate now available. It shows the registrant's license number, brokerage license number, and the expiry of that current license. If you can't find them, if they don't have it, then you go to reco.on.ca to verify it. Idea, again, RECO is a regulator. The goal is to protect the consumer interest. And they have taken a lot of efforts to improve this as a part of legislative changes that happen, and to increase consumer protection. Also, governance has changed. Also, many things that happen. Particularly, I will talk about customer service you used to have is no longer available. I'm talking about general information. If you have to ask any specific questions, please call me on my cell number 416-451-3489. I'd be more than happy to explain you this. Also, I have a schedule on December 6th at 7 p.m. Let's Talk Real Estate, a conversation so I can answer your questions. And this is for consumer or realtors or financial. Anybody can join it, ask question, and we can supply. We give you a little bit brief what's happening there. So customer service is gone, is not being replaced. Now you have two services. Either you are represented by a brokerage as a buyer client or seller client, or you are a self-represented party. That means you don't need anyone. You decided not to be represented by a real estate professional who's licensed by RECO. Now, in this particular case, this brochure will talk about that, the risk you are taking when you are not being represented by a professional. You can get advice from them. You can get an opinion from them. And they will give you general information. Let's say you go to the open house and they give you information which is available to the public. That's all you're going to get. You're not going to have no historic information, no advice, no opinion, because it's against the law unless you are a client. Either you become a client or you be independent party and self-represented party. This is how it's defined in the law. So this is important. And you are, when you are entering into agreement, read this, the commencement date, the expiry date, the parties involved with that, and the compensation, commission is always an issue, whether you are being paid, who's going to pay the commission. Clarify that. is being paid by the seller or is being by the buyer? Who is paying it and what amount? How long that agreement is valid? And also the holdover clause. Define it. Try to ask questions. What does this mean? How long it will go on? And duration. There is no law. It doesn't tell you how long can you have it, how much commission you're going to do it. That's your prerogative. You will be talking to your realtor, and you decide and negotiate the best deal you can. Remember that. Every realtor or registrar, most of them are self-employed. They work very hard to get the money. So if you are, penny wise and dollar fool, that means you are pinching on reducing the commission too much. It takes away the motivation. And professionally, ethically, by law, we are responsible, regardless of any commission arrangement, to protect your interest, because you're going to be our client or you're going to be served within the party. So look at the value that realtor or a real estate professional will bring it to you. That's where your focus is. Watch, because right now, as you know, because of this interest rate hike, lots of sellers are in trouble because they can't get financing. Affordability is a big issue. They can't get financing, so lots of properties are in the market now. And I have, as I mentioned to you before, we shared some our previous episode about statistic. The lots of property available now, and buyer has a lot of choices to make. However, even the builders are depending on real estate professional. So now this law will create that environment when you are going out, especially buying from the builder. You can use a real estate professional. I get calls all the time from people who watch my Realty Coffee Talk, and they got in trouble because they thought they don't need anyone. I know one very close person who was in my Realty Coffee Talk in a community center. They recently got stuck. They gave $300,000. They bought a very significant high value home that cannot even qualify for the mortgage, and they're in trouble because they never contacted me to get advice what to do. And this is why it's very, very important that you pay attention to the detail. If you're going to be self-represented buyer or seller, there will be clause there. You have to read that, and you will be initialing it. I want to be self-represented. That means you have to rely on your own sources to verify the information about the property. With this kind of a challenging environment, I highly advise you to think about hiring a real estate professional. I'm a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada. I'm a CIPS. I'm a certified real estate specialist, a member of Real Estate Institute of Canada. And I have all the credentials to help you, whether it's residential or commercial. And as you know, I am a consultant with Park Home Builders, and I have all the credentials for registration as a builder and vendor in Ontario. So I can talk about the building new homes. And there's a lot of opportunities available to help buy it or build it. But choice is yours. I can help. So always I suggest to make informed decisions. So now, if you are a seller, you will have a choice now to ask your real estate professional and give them in writing direction to share the content of the offer when you are in a multiple representation, or you are also sharing in a bidding war. So there is many, many things that are happening. That means you cannot disclose private information or identify the buyer who has submitted the offer, but content, pricing, and other conditions you can specify. But realtor have to have in writing from you, seller, in order for them to share the information, and they can also explain you the challenges that you're going to have, because when you are countering or you're asking other people to rebate the price, especially those who have submitted the offer, the challenges are that they may not come back to you. And you are in a situation that you need to sell the property. So you take your advice from your realtor and make a proper decision what information you want to disclose and not to disclose. And obviously, this is very important. Now, another important thing is consent. When you have a multiple representation, let's say you have a buyer, broker, and he is represented as a designated representative, and also same person is represented the seller designated, and they are designated by being representing buyer and seller. So that case, you are a multiple representation regardless of designation. But if you are represented by an agent is designated as a buyer, or another agent is designated as a seller, the other employee of the brokerage are not designated. So this is very, very important to understand that, ask question, and more explanation is available. You can go to reco.on.ca or call me. I am there to help you. My goal is to get you ready and pay attention to the details. Working with a realtor is changing. The RICO guidelines, info guideline is coming, and you have to watch that. Is very, very important. It's going to be significant information, benefit of representing the buyer and seller, and representation or designated person. Now, consent is required when you have multiple representation to represent both parties, or you have a brokerage representation where everybody is a part of the multiple representation, and then you have to make sure you have a consent before you are engaging with a seller, a buyer, because you have a listing that you're already representing a seller, and you may be designated. And if you have consent, so you have to share in advance, get the consent of the buyer and seller in a multiple representation, or even you have a situation where you can see that consent is required, particularly when you are a self-represented party. It's a certificate and consent that you want to go beyond the RICO info guide. There is a consent form and certification and acknowledgement that the realtor has shared that information and you have chosen to be self-represented party. And this is very important to you to understand. There are many other things. Normally, as a real estate professional, we are obligated under our code of ethics and regulation to follow strictly, professionally, ethically perform with honesty, with dignity, with integrity, and have a competency in areas where we're providing service. And lots of professionals, they want to keep the business, but they may lack some competency in this area. So I will always suggest to work with your team, within your brokerage, and ask them that maybe somebody else who can help you, and make sure you disclose that person if a designated person is a part of the team. When you have a designated representation, then the whole team, if you are part of a team, whole team is there to protect the consumer interest. This is very important to understand. The designated buyer representative or designated seller representative cannot talk to each other about the motivation or personal information that will by exchanging the information is prohibited. They need to protect that. And the brokerage, for example, I'm a broker of record, I'm and also complying officer. I want to make sure that everything is arm's length. Therefore, you are protecting the interest of a client. If you cannot protect that, you suggest them to go to another brokerage if you cannot be with the company. So go to other brokerage and let them bring offer, represent the buyer, you represent the seller. And within the brokerage, I plan to have a designation. If I am representing the seller, I have another agent who will be representing the buyer. So we are both, we are small brokerage, so it's allowed. Is under the law, we are allowed to practice, it's called broker representation because we are small. Idea again is the protecting consumer interest. So there's a lot of changing happening. You're going to see the forms that change, and you're going to be asking them. I request you to ask your real estate professional to explain you the relationship, particularly the RICO info guide. That's who set the tone of building a relationship with you. And that's very key. And after that, if you decided to go with a self-representative party, become a party, then you have to give consent and certificate that you acknowledge that you want to go that route. And the risks are discussed and everything, and is documented properly. And all realtors will be sending you email and then talking to you. I always talk to my client if I can use a Zoom or personally meet, because you need about a couple of hours to discuss things and prepare. You have a meeting of mind. You are there to help your client. So you are not there just to sign the paper. No. The spirit of the agreement, of any agreement that you enter into with a consumer, is to have them understanding of it before they sign it. So they're sure they want to proceed with this. And this upgradation from REBA to TRISA, there's a lot of improvement. And there were lots of complaints, lots of things that the registrant shouldn't be doing it. And they are providing contact information, RICO, address, email, phone number, where to call, and download your form and complain about it. And also, especially if you're not happy with a designated representative, then the broker record, you reach out to him, because broker record is a complying officer under the Act to make sure everybody follow the Act. And this is why it's very, very important for you to talk, and then you can reassign someone. Sometime a designated person moved and relocated or is not available, then you can, the broker record can assign a new person. And it's all done by sitting together and in the best interest of our client. So this is very important now, that you go there and you listen, ask questions. There is no standard for commission, and you have only one type of service. That's a client service, no more customer. Other provinces have it. Now we have it starting from tomorrow at 12:01 a.m. It's be effective. And if you have any question, please call me 416-451-3489. I request you to go to my YouTube channel, Realty Coffee Talk, or go to realtycoffeetalk.com. Realty Coffee Talk is a one word, .com. There are over 385 episodes, and you can learn about buying and selling, because this is the most expensive decision of your life. It will affect you very significantly, so you make an informed decision. That's the purpose and goals of our Realty Coffee Talk, to increase awareness, building consumer confidence in real estate, and also promote good ethics and professional business practices in real estate. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe my YouTube channel. And if you have any question, call me 416-451-3489. I am your host of Realty Coffee Talk. I'm a broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. My passion is real estate, and your success is my priority. Thank you for watching.